Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Sober School, where you can always find experience, strength, and hope. My name is Drew. I'm an alcoholic through and through. We want to welcome you to this platform here today, regardless of what your addiction may be. You are welcome here. We support your pathway to recovery. And whichever pathway it is that you choose, we're here to help, and we definitely want to make sure that it works for you. I want to give a special shout out and thank you to the guys that came down to the Point Cafe last night to hang out and just talk and shoot the breeze. It was a lot of fun, and that meeting always does my heart well. Speaking of meetings, tonight, if you're local to the area, Bates Presbyterian Church over on East Pea Ridge Road, it's 7 o'clock. It's the Attitude Adjustment meeting. It's such a great meeting, such a fun meeting, and I have a lot of attitude, and Lord knows it needs adjusted quite often. So, and then of course this Friday night, again, if you're local to the area, Pea Ridge United Methodist Church, we'll have our crosstalk meeting at 7 o'clock. Pea Ridge United Methodist Church this Friday night. So I encourage you guys to come down if you're local to the area. Over the last month now, we've been talking a lot about how we're not able to take that one drink. Just that one drink, or use that just that one time. It starts the allergy. It starts the endless cycle of insanity, right? We can't just use it once or drink it once and walk away. Well, we've tried everything humanly possible, physically possible, to stop or to control our drinking, to control our drugging, and we just fail every single time. So you say, okay, Drew, fine. You might have convinced me I'm an alcoholic. You might have convinced me I'm a drug addict. Now what? What does that mean? Am I just destined to die this way? No, you're not at all. We've talked about that, especially yesterday, about how, we have to be willing to take these old ideas, these old emotions, these old attitudes, and set them off to the side. We have to be willing to believe different things, and it starts with faith. Now, I know what you're about to say. I have people tell me all the time, Drew, I can't have faith. I was burned, I was burned at my church whenever I was younger, or this happened with God, and that turned me off. I get all that, trust me, and I'm going to share some of my own personal experience here in just a minute. I do, but we're not talking about faith from a religious perspective. See, if we've tried everything humanly possible, everything in the physical realm, everything physically possible to stop or control our drinking or drugging, maybe it's time we start looking at something maybe metaphysical, maybe supernatural, maybe spiritual, right? But the problem is, what's spiritual, your mind immediately starts thinking God and church and pastors and choirs and all that. No, that's not it at all. Matter of fact, on page 47, I believe it is, Bill Wilson writes in the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous, do not let any prejudice you may have against spiritual terms deter you. Do not let any prejudice you may have against spiritual terms deter you from honestly asking yourself what they mean to you. So in other words, if you hear the word faith, if you hear the word God, don't let any prejudice you have about those terms deter you from honestly asking yourself what they mean to you now. See, we grow and evolve as human beings. Why can't our beliefs too, right? And so one of my favorite lines in the Big Book is actually on page 51. It says, in the realm of the material, men's minds were fettered by superstition, tradition, and all sorts of fixed ideas. So basically what he's saying is, in the realm of the material, men are stuck in their old way of thinking. They refuse to change. They refuse to set aside those old ideas. They refuse to set aside those superstition traditions. They refuse to set aside because they don't want to change. Well, nothing changes if nothing changes, right? So if I know I'm powerless over my alcohol and my life has become manageable, then it must mean if I want to change that, I've got to change something. And that change starts with putting your old ideas, emotions, and attitudes on the shelf and be willing to accept new conceptions. People say, like I said, I can't believe in something I can't see. I can't do this faith thing. Well, every time you walk into a room and flip a light switch on, you have faith that the light's going to come on before you flip the switch. Otherwise, you wouldn't flip the switch, right? You have faith, you have a belief that if a tree falls in the forest and no one's around to hear, well, you have faith that's going to make a sound. So you're already acting on faith as it is. You have faith that, when you get in your car and you're going to the grocery store, you're going to make it there, right? So we already act on faith throughout our day. So it's not that big of a step to go, okay, maybe I've tried everything physically possible. Maybe I've tried everything humanly possible to stop my drinking or control my drinking. Okay, so why can't there be something inhuman? Why can't there be something supernatural? Why can't there be something spiritual, something that's greater than me that can control my drinking? See, I'm not asking you to believe in the God of my understanding. I'm the wrong guy for that. I'm not a pastor. This is not a church. Nope, wrong guy, okay? I'm not asking you to believe in God as I understand him. What I am asking you, though, is are you willing to believe that there is something out there that's greater than you and greater than me that can restore me, to sanity? And see, when I came back into the rooms in July of 2021, I was at that point. I was like, yeah, but if there is, I'm definitely signing up this time around. See, we're not talking about religion here. Again, we're not talking about religion. I want to make that painfully clear. I'm not a pastor. This is not a church. I'm not going to pass the offering plate and send you out the door. But I also understand how easy it is to get confused. See, I was raised in a very Christian, God-loving household. My mom and dad both love God. They always told me God loves me. He wants to protect me, keep me safe. He wants the best for me. They also said, hey, the guy and the pastor at the church, he's the voice of God. And so imagine my confusion where I'd go to church and the pastor would say, if you listen to FM radio, you're going to burn in hell. If you go watch a movie at the movie theater that doesn't have Jesus in it, you're going to burn in hell. Man, I felt really bad whenever I went to watch E.T. in the movie theater and Top Gun. Whew, especially Top Gun. Oh my God, right? So imagine my confusion as a really young boy. I remember the pastor would always talk about God. He'd point up, right? But then when he talked to God, he'd look down. Well, shit, if that's not enough to confuse you, I don't know what is. So I had all these preconceived notions and ideas. But then when I remember the pastor, I was about 13, 14 years old, the pastor said, hey, we really want to get the youth group involved. And so I went to one of the other pastors and I said, hey, I would like to participate in a band. He looks at me and says, no, you don't look the part. And I do remember saying, I missed the part where Jesus said, come as you are, but you got to look a certain way. And I remember watching his face get really red, and he turned around and walked off. At that point, I got labeled a troublemaker. I got labeled, I got branded and labeled anyway within the church community. And then, I started fighting, not by my own choice, but I started calling people on bullshit, and I'd get in fights. But automatically, I was the troublemaker. Automatically, I was the guy stirring up problems in the church. And as I got older, I finally just gave up and said, I'm not even interested in this God thing because this God is confusing. He doesn't like me, whatever. So then I was about 16 years old and I was trying to do the right thing, just mind my own business in a church service one day. And an usher grabbed me by the arm and said, he started to push me back in through the door to go back into the sanctuary. And I said, oh no. And he grabbed onto the wrong person. And I let him have it too. At that point, my dad called the church, told the pastors, you told my son to leave, so as far as I'm concerned, he never has to come back. And you know what? I held on to that. I held on to that for years. And all of those experiences I held on to for years. And so when I came in the rooms in July or in early 2013, I still had all those experiences with me. And when they talked about God and a higher power, that's why I turned around and went right back out the door. Because that God of my childhood, the God I had been confused about from my childhood, that God didn't want me. But you know what? When I came back into the rooms in July of 2021, I was introduced to a God of my own understanding. Not the God from my pastor, not the God from my usher, not the God from my parents even. Granted, my God now kind of aligns more with my parents' idea, but I got to choose my own conception of God. And that's what I'm here to ask you today. If you're willing to set aside your old ideas, your old thoughts and old attitudes and emotions, are you willing to accept that just maybe, there's a power out there that's greater than you that can restore you to sanity? We'll talk more again tomorrow. I'll let you guys think on and ponder on that question. Guys, thank you for letting me come in and share 5 to 10 minutes of your day with you. You guys keep me sober, and I could not be any more appreciative. If there's a topic you'd like to hear discussed, drop it in the Recovery Classroom Facebook group page, and we'll take a look at it. Hope you guys have an absolute kick-ass hump day. It's Wednesday. We'll talk again tomorrow. Remember, guys, you can't get drunk if you don't take that first drink.